formulation of energy efficiency measures. So M&V is also a process of planning. We have to plan different things, and then we have to measure different parameters, and then collect the data. And after the data is collected, then we have to analyze those data for the purpose of verifying the energy saving and reporting the energy saving with the individual facility. So energy and cost reductions are compared to a historical baseline, uh, which may be adjusted to reflect changing operating conditions or utility rates. Now, in some cases, what happens that when we do the measurement at the time of baseline, there are some parameters which is variable in nature, which is tend to change in future. So we have to identify those parameters at the time of doing the measurements. So what are the areas in which M&V is applicable? So M&V is mainly applicable to all the energy efficiency projects. See, in the past, there are many projects, many project happened where M&V was not a part. So those project has faced uh, difficulty in claiming the saving and other things. So this is why many government agencies or any agencies which is working on a larger scale always put M&V as a part of the project. Again, M&V is applicable for energy performance contracting. This is the part of the contract. Wherever there is a energy efficiency programs launched by any government agencies, M&V would be a part of this. And for the verification of any internal accounting, M&V would be a part of this. So these are the areas in which M&V is a part. Now, what are the purpose of M&V? So if we see that we have listed six areas in which M&V is very applicable. First thing is that the increased energy saving. So it is very important to accurately determine the energy saving, which gives the facility owners and the managers valuable feedback on their energy consumption measures. So this quantify the energy consumption and also increase the energy saving. So there's a famous saying which you can't measure, you can't save. So it is very important to measure the saving. Then also the purpose is to document the financial transactions, because for some project, the energy efficiency saving from the basis of performance-based financial payments uh, guarantee the performance contracting. So a well-defined and implemented M&V plan can serve as a basis for documenting performance in a transparent manner. Then to improve the design efficiency, design, engineering design, and facility operation and maintenance, it is very much important. Then for account of variance from the utility budget, and then educate facility owners. M&V is very important. And then added advantage is the improve in the score of green building certification. So these are the purpose of the M&V. Benefit of M&V is very much the first benefit is the it allocate risk between contractor and the consumers. So it is very important to define the roles, responsibility of each stakeholders. So during the M&V, it is already if we do the M&V, risks are defined at the initial phase. It also help in accurately assess the energy savings and persistence of saving on a project. It reduce uncertainty to a reasonable level. It can't reduce the uncertainty to zero, but still it reduces the uncertainty in savings by doing several adjustment, several formulation. The uncertainty will be lesser. It also help in monitoring equipment performance. So many cases, what happens when we visit many industries or building, they install the energy saving equipment and they don't measure the energy consumption of the new equipments on a regular basis. They say yes, we have just installed it, it is giving saving, I'm not worried about the performance of the equipment. But this is very important factor when you do implementation of any ECMs, energy saving measures. It is very important to monitor the saving. And when we do monitor the saving, you will also get additional saving from those, because saving energy you can't measure. You can only compare the consumption from the baseline to assessment at the time of assessment. So there are various additional saving that can come when you do the measurement of that equipment. So there is a this efficiency valuation organization which is doing the international performance measurement and verification protocol. So this protocol is widely accepted by more than 20 countries in the world, and this protocol is customizable as per the local need. So many international organization, government bodies is using this protocol to measure the energy saving. So this protocol comes with a high level tools with four different options for the MNV, that is option A, option B, option C, and D. So which is designed to address a wide range of retrofit measures. Like for example, if your objectives is different, you can choose from other options can be applicable. But if your objective is different for the same technology, then you can choose different options. So it also provides credibility of energy saving and its report. So we are going to cover the MNV protocols as per the IPMVP. So this is a bit complicated picture. So this is the standard steps for conducting MNV. So from the beginning, what are the steps that we have to follow, and how we comes to conclusion of the MNV. So first step is to identify energy consumption measures that you can do with the help of ESCOs. They can conduct the baselines estimations. They can conduct the audit to identify the energy consumption measures. Now, once the measures are identified, you have to define the approach and the options for the MNB. So you have to select out of the four options, what option you have to select. Accordingly, the things will be different for different options. Now, once you have selected the M&B option, then you have to develop the baseline. So baseline estimation process is different for different options. So you have to do the spot measurement. Sometimes you have to do the meter recording, or sometimes you have to do simulation also to arrive at the baseline. So this baseline process or the duration is based on the M&P option. So once the baseline is done, then you have to prepare the M&V plan. So now you have the data uh, collected through measurement, through recording, through simulation. With the help of that data, you have to prepare the M&V plan. Once you prepare the M&V plan, then you have to get into the contract with the ESCOs or other stakeholders. In case of it is a equipment suppliers, then you have to sign EPC contract with them. Now, once it is signed, then you have to go for the measurement, implementation of the EC measures. You have to implement that measures. Then after the implementation, you have to do the inspection of the EC measures after implementation. So inspection means you have to do the verification process of that EC measures. Now, when we talk about the verification measures, so as defined in the M&V plan, you have to adopt the same methodology as you have adopted in the baseline period. Same formula, same interval of the data recording, everything has to be same. If any scenario has changed from the baseline, then you have to do the adjustment in the baseline data. Once you have done all these things, then you have to run the equipment for the 1 year, again record the data, and the collect post installation data from the equipment. Then on this defined period of time, you have to do the adjustment, which is routine and non-routine in nature. So adjustment, how to do the adjustment, what are the factors that has to include the adjustment, all these things need to be captured in the process of doing the M&V plan and approach. Then saving will be calculated and then M&V report will be prepared. So this is the basic steps to follow to the M&V procedures. So, sorry. So this is the basic equation for estimation of the energy savings. So it tells about the baseline energy consumption minus post-installation energy consumption plus minus the adjustment which comes during the after the installation of the project. So why adjustment is important? So it is very much important because energy retrofit was performed, but in some cases, what happened that new building was constructed or some portion of the building was demolished. So your area has changed now. That is why the adjustment is needed. So baseline adjustment scenarios are different. Like in case of change in occupancy, like colleges. They have different semesters. So semester wise or throughout the year, the occupancy will vary. Same case applies for the hotels where the occupancy different from different interval of time. So adjustment may be done in case of building use or operating conditions or change in operating schedule. So that is also comes in the adjustment criteria. So in case of change in the indoor or outdoor temperature or environmental condition, that is also comes to the adjustment or addition of any energy consumption equipment. Now, in some cases, what happens is that the overall energy consumption of the facility is taken for the baseline and for the M&B. Now, if you install any equipment and then if you measure the saving from the overall energy consumption of the facility, and later on, if you install any new equipment in that facility, then what happens is that the actual energy saving will not reflect in the total bill of the facility. So that is why adjustment is important. So now we will come to the M&B methods. So if we talk about the M&B methods, so IP-MVP defines four broad categories of M&B techniques. So these are option A, B, C, and D. So these categories are divided into two general types. The first one is the retrofit isolation, and the second one is the whole facility method. Now, retrofit isolation method considered only the affected equipment or where the equipment is installed or which is the system independent of the rest of the facility. Like if you can see in the first picture in the left hand side, only the equipment which is installed, we will have to do the measurement of only those areas. Whole facility method considered the total energy use and de-emphasize specific equipment performance. Like in the second case, we have to do the measurement of the whole facility, irrespective of the ECM measures that is there. So the primary difference in these approaches is where the boundary of the ECM is drawn. To determine the savings, all energy used within the boundary must be considered. So for retrofit isolation, option A and option B are there. And for the whole facility method, option C and option D are there. So when we talk about the option A, which is the retrofit of isolation, we have to talk about the key parameter measure. We only have to measure the key parameters. And mostly we do it in the deemed saving basis. Option B comes with the in which all parameters are measured and it is a continuous measurement. Option C is the whole facility analysis and we use monthly utility meter data. And option D is the calibrated simulation. So in this option, we use the simulation models. Now we understand each model in detail. So option A, which is retrofit isolation with key parameters measures. So in this option, the savings are determined by the field measurement of the key parameters. So the measurement in the option A are short-term, periodic, or continuous, and are kept at a component or system level for both the baseline and the retrofit equipment. The energy savings determination under the option A will be less costly compared to the other options. Now, what are the parameters not selected for the field measurement are estimated value. So there are few parameters that we have measured and there are few parameters which we can't measure. So we have to estimate those parameters. So estimation can be derived from the historical data from the manufacturer's specifications or from the engineering judgment. So all these options can be valid in this option A. So option A can be adopted where the amount of saving is low for the entire project. So wherever the saving quantity is low, then this option can be adopted. And then when customer is willing to accept some uncertainty in the saving, that is also applicable for option A. So the formula for the energy saving is baseline energy use minus retrofit energy use multiplied by the hours of use. So we understand this option by means of an example. So in this example, there's a municipality which wants to install the street lighting. So they have street lighting which is having connected with the meters. They want to replace the street lighting with a more efficient lighting to reduce the power consumption up to 50%. So the baseline case is that they want to replace it with a new lights, and they want to do spot measurement of existing lamp, and also they have to fix the operating hours based on the information collected through the baseline. Now, what happened is that while doing the baseline, they found that some of the fixtures were burnout, which is around 20% in the baseline year. Now, the municipality decided that in the assessment year, to maintain the uniformity of the light, the burnout rate should not be more than 3%. So there's a variable comes in picture in this project that the burnout rate in the base year was 20%, and in the assessment year time, the burnout rate will be 3% only because it is mandated by the municipality. So this is the variable that we need to fix. So what should be the M&B plan? So savings are considered on a deemed saving basis because this is a simple lighting. So we know with the spot measurement, we know the actual energy consumption of the existing lighting, and we know the energy consumption of the proposed lighting. So the municipality also identify the lighting fixtures, and then they do the adjustment of the 3% of the burnout. Now, how to do the adjustment? You have the baseline energy consumption. So the adjustment will be a ratio of 3% to 20%, which is multiplied by the baseline energy consumption. So it will give you the adjusted baseline energy consumption of that street lighting areas. Now, again, in the assessment, after installation, you do the assessment, you do the measurement, and with the adjusted baseline, you have to subtract the actual consumption, which will give you the energy saving. So this is the example of a street lighting under option A. Now, the second option that we are having is the option B, which is retrofit isolation with all parameters measured. Now, in the option A, we have measured only key parameters, but here we have to measure the all parameters. So it uses the long-term, periodic, and continuous measurement of all parameters which are needed to calculate energy during the performance period. Now, it provides higher accuracy of saving estimate compared to the option A. I request those who are please unmute.
Hello, Mrinal. I think you muted yourself. We cannot hear you. Hello.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think somebody is muted me
Now,
also.
huh. Now we can hear
So
you.
in option B, the M&B cost will be higher than option A. Those so cases where option B is applicable compared to other option, where independent variables that affect energy use are not so complex and expensive to monitor, then we can use option B. where savings, load pattern, or operations within the measurement boundary are variable, and operational data on the equipments are available through control system. So option B is appropriate for measure in which the actual energy use need to be measured for comparison with the baseline model for calculating saving. So again, the formula will be same as compared to option A. So talking about the example of option B, how this option B can be implemented. So we take example of replacement of old inefficient pumps with energy efficient pumps in any buildings or any municipality. So here the base in the baseline year, we have 50 old inefficient agriculture pumps to be replaced with the new energy efficient pumps. The the metering is available for each pump, and the DISCOM is providing a partial subsidy for the pump replacement upon submission of the M&B report. Now, government is providing subsidy for the replacement of old with a new one. So this triggered the farmers there, and they have hired a ESCO to do this type of activity because they have to submit the M&B report. So the new pump will increase the energy saving options. Now here in this case, the operating hours depends on the rainfall and other factor. So if the rainfalls is lower, the operating hour will increase. Then the pump flow is constant because no variation in the pump flow. Now in case option B was selected, meter installation was already done and sampling recording was done. So regression model was developed based on the baseline data, and based on that, the annual saving was estimated. Then adjustment would be done for the rainfall because rainfall is 10% lower than the baseline period. So accordingly, new pump has to run more to cover the loss of the water. So pump operation assume 10% higher than the normal. So these adjustment has to do the assessment of M&V. Now in option C, we have to do the whole facility. This involves use of utility meters, whole facility meters, or sub meter to assess the energy performance of a total facility. Now the boundary for measurement in this case includes either the whole facility or a major section of the facility. So this is applicable for those projects where expected saving are large compared to the unexplained saving. So wherever the savings are higher, number quantum of savings are higher, option C is used. Uh, it don't usually have the extra metering cost because they simply rely upon the utility meter data. In this case also, the saving calculation is energy in case of baseline energy consumption minus the reporting period energy consumption. Then you have to do the adjustment on routine and non-routine basis. I have to skip this example just to come. I will explain you. So this is a case of whole facility energy accounting. In any facility, if anybody wants to account for the whole energy consumption, uh, then they have to consider certain variables also. That is the weather condition, the uh, tariff, and all. So the factors affecting the M&B design is the guest room occupancy, conventional area usage, and weather of the area. So in order to account for energy consumption and demand, uh, the facility owner realized that the use of M&B techniques and these factors. So M&B plan, they have devised the M&B plan, and with the help of regression model, they have developed this uh, weather conditions and occupancy conditions. And after the model, they again compare the output of the model to the baseline data, and they estimated this. Now, the last option is option D, which is the calibrated simulation. So this option involves the use of building simulation software to predict facility energy use when a building baseline does not exist. So in case of baseline is not available, then you have to use simulation software to predict the energy use. The simulation model need to be calibrated using available baseline meter data to predict energy and load shape, which is matching with the actual data. Now, options where option D is applicable when there are too many ECMs to assess using option A and option B. When the baseline period energy data are unavailable, then these options can be applicable. So for the calibration, what are the data required? So we require utility bill record. We have to do the site survey data, the short-term monitoring data also we need, spot measurement of specific equipment we need, then weather data. These are the data that required. And the energy saving formula for this is the baseline period energy from the calibrated model minus actual reporting energy saving, then calibration error in corresponding calibrated period. So this example is related to the new building design. Whenever you go for a new building design, to use the less energy than the energy required as per the building code. So then you have to do the comparison from the existing building as per the code, what is the energy consumption pattern, and compare that with the simulation data. So this is the M&V plan and the variable that is listed out. This is the selection procedure for the options. Uh, if you have different ECM performance you have to measure or the facility performance you have to measure, what how you have to arrive at the options, which are the option that you have to connect. Now the next is the M&V cost. So M&V cost is one of the important factor when we talk about the M&V. So M&V cost should be evaluated the part of the project development. So when we develop the project, M&V cost should be a key component in the project development. Now you can see in the graph. So M&V cost increases is related to the uncertainty in the saving. So saving certainty, if you have to increase, then the M&V cost will be higher. So higher the amount M&V cost, certainty of saving will be higher. So it is directly related to the savings. So what are the factors that is affecting the M&V cost? So if we use extensive metering in the baseline period, that will again increase the M&V cost. Uh, if we verify key performance item using periodic rather than the continuous data collection, then these M&V cost will be increased. Now, in the box, it is shown that what are the percentage of M&V cost compared to the total project cost. So in option A, the M&V cost will vary from 1% to 5% of the project cost. For option B, it is 3 to 15%. Option C, it is 1 to 10%. And again, option D, it is 3 to 15%. So these are the factors which is affecting the M&V cost for different options.
Yeah,
Like in
sorry,
option
Mrinal,
A,
sorry to interrupt you. Can we please wind up in next 5 minutes? Because then,
yeah, it is last slide.
okay, great, great.
So in option A, the factors which is affecting in the number of measurement points. If you increase the number of measurement point, cost will be increased. Then frequency of reporting. The frequency of reporting is increased, immediately cost will increase. Option B, length of reporting period. Similarly, option C and option D, there are multiple factors which is affecting the cost of the M&V. So this is the internal process, how to define the MNV and how to track the MNV on the project level. This we have already discussed in the previous slides. So that's all from my side.
Yeah,
We are
thanks,
open for the
Mrinal. Thanks
questions.
for the wonderful presentation. I see Rekha ma'am's hand up. So Rekha ma'am, can you please go?
Hi, thanks for the presentation. Just one doubt on the M&V cost versus the project cost. In baseline DB, it is going from 3% to 50 of the project. Is it the overall project cost what we are talking about, or what is that compared to?
So,
Ma'am, I've lost you in between. Can you repeat your question?
Yeah. In M&E cost variation and the three to in baseline A, B, C, D models, there is 1 to 10% variation between A and C model and 3 to 15% between B and C model. So in that, how would we understand? I mean, what is that 3 to 15% is the overall cost of the project?
Yes, these percentages are the share of the overall cost of the project. Like if the project cost is around 20 lakh rupees, so the M&V cost will vary to, if it is 2%, so it is you can say that the 20,000 or something like that.
Sorry, just I'll be more
And
clear.
the M&V cost will be a part of the project. So you have to build the M&V cost while designing, evaluating the total cost of the project.
The new building, the building 3 to 5% would be model. Am I right in understanding?
Your voice is not audible clearly, ma'am. Series, can
Can
you hear? Can you explain the question?
Yeah, I think the voice is little bit breaky.
I mean,
Ma'am, can you please come near to the mic? Yeah.
can you hear me now?
Yeah, it is great. Yeah, it is good now.
So just want to understand. Now, if I'm constructing a new building, if my building is costing 100 crore, in that 3 to 15% is my M&V cost. Am I right in understanding?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else who wants to ask a question now?
Can we get this PPT? We found it very useful.
Yeah, Mr. Yogesh, I see you speaking. Can you please repeat your question? I think Minal must have not heard you.
I was requesting if we can get this PPT, it would help us.
Yeah, we can share the PPT.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, so you will get the, I mean, all the participants will get this presentation from Decarbonization Business Charter ID. So yeah, that will be done. And Soumya, please take a note of this.
Yeah, Shirish, I have taken a note. So
Okay. Yeah. Anybody else have any questions? So in that case, let me ask a very basic question. So Mrinal, you talked about the adjustments and everything. So let's say we don't have the option to adjust it to baseline or the reporting period. So there is one option of I mean, having a normal period as a reporting period. So I mean, having a period which is I mean, between both the baseline and reporting period. So what suggestion? I mean, what should be done in that case?
No, see, the adjustment or the normalization which we talk about is
Yeah.
applicable when we do the post implementation measurement. Like
Mhm.
initially, you have done the assessment of the baseline. Correct.
Yeah.
You have defined the variables. Now, when you do the measurement after 1 month or after 6 months, at that point of time, you have to compare the scenario from the baseline. If the both the scenarios are okay, then it is fine. If there is a variation in the scenario, then you have to do the normalization. Within these two periods, you don't need to do anything because you are not recording the data.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, I see Farhan's hand up. Farhan, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So, Mrunal, we face some challenges like many times when we uh, install our ECM and then start saving the energy at any particular site. Then over the period of time, or many times it happens that client does not maintain the equipment properly, and then there is a losses in the efficiency and they don't see impact on the bills. and during that time they are not ready to pay, or they say that we are not seeing any impact on the bill, but there are savings happening actually, but because of the difference in the efficiencies of the equipment, they are not able to see the savings. So if you can put light on how to deal in such situations.
Yeah, this is, I think, common phenomena that we also see in many cases. Like I will quote one example. We have installed a micro turbine in one of the textile unit, and after the installation of micro turbine, it the breakdown happens in the turbine. So we have sent the team there and just to check what is the reason for the breakdown. And within 1 week, two breakdown happens. So we came to know that the operating practices that we have explained to the operators was not followed properly, the greasing and all. So those things are not followed properly. So although we have given the operating manuals to the operators, to the facility owners, but still they are not using those things, or they are not giving training to those operators to how to use and how to operate them. So this really faces situations where the facility owner say that this is your problem because the equipment is not uh, performing well. It has breakdown. So while defining the EPC contract, these things need to be highlighted that this is the responsibility of the facility owner, how to maintain it, what is the schedule of the maintenance. All the things has to be clear written out in the contract, schedule how to maintain, and regular visit need to be done to the facility just to check whether the equipment is running or not, or they are doing the maintenance of the equipment as per the prescribed manual or not. So things has to be taken care by both the parties, by the owner of the facility and by the ESCO company who's installing that equipment. So it is always better to take the O&M or annual maintenance contract with the facility so that all the thing lies with the supplier of the equipment.
Yeah, yeah, great. Thanks. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Malik Tarjun, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Munal, is there any checklist, generalized checklist to make sure that M&V is always in place in the interest of both the parties?
So checklist related to?
M&V.
So this
Generalized.
IP MVP protocols. So this protocol defines each and every parameters. What are the things that we need to take in care related to if it is a building, what are the parameters? So protocols are there, but the protocol varies from the ECMs. Like for boilers, the protocols will be different. For you can say that the chillers, the measurement points or frequency will be different. So based on the equipment, the parameters or the frequency varies, but the overall protocols will remain same.
Which
So
protocol you made?
protocols is defined. You will get the protocol details all from those are standard practice that is being followed by various agencies. Protocols are there.
Which protocol? Any specific
IP MVP protocols.
IP MVP? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I think we have exceeded 1 minute of our time, so I think we should wrap it up right now. So thank you everyone for joining the session, and thanks to Mrinal for uh, keeping us update on the M&V progress which is happening in our country and various aspects related to it. So I would like to make an announcement here that as you know that we have built a business charter, decarbonization business charter, and we currently are onboarding signatories. So anybody who is interested to join the charter, they can read it from the website, the specific contents of it, and if you wish to join it, please write to us on our email ID, which Soumya will just post in the chat box. Please write to us, and if in case you have any questions related to the session, please feel free to write us, and we will direct this to Mrinal, and he will respond to them. Yeah, Soumya, please put that in the chat box if you are there.
Yeah, I have put it in the chat box. So anyone who wants to connect with us, has any questions, or wants to join us as signatories to the charter, you can write to us at dbusinesscharter@gmail.com. I've put it in the chat also.
Yeah.
And also we are having this series of workshops. So tomorrow also we'll be joined by Professor Himanshu Jain from IIT Roorkee. He'll be speaking on demand flexibility. So you can register for that webinar also, and we are looking forward to having you here in the next webinar and the upcoming webinars in the next week.
Yeah, I guess
Yes.
then let's call it a day. Thank you,
Thank
everyone,
you, Kunal,
for
and thank you,
joining.
Shrish. Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone, for joining us here. I hope it was as great for you as it was for us. Thank you, Mrinal, for speaking and spending your time here. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. So I'll just end the meeting right now. And also keep a lookout on, we are posting it through different handles, to the handles of DB